So initially, CNN reported that one F-35 had been landed on emergency basis in one of the Gulf states. And CENTCOM has confirmed that an F-35 was damaged by the ground-to-air fighters by the Iranian IRGC, whatever you call them. So I will not speculate about anything. I will just go with the facts that it is confirmed that at least one, although there are reports of two F-35s being hit, but we will go with the first one only, the one we have confirmed reports so far. What does that mean, actually? That means a lot. A stealth, it cannot be seen. If it cannot be seen, it cannot be locked. If it cannot be locked, it cannot be hit. If it cannot be hit, it cannot be damaged. Simple, period. That's why it's called a stealth. But CENTCOM has confirmed that it was damaged. That's why it landed. It had the emergency landing in one of the Gulf states. They don't want to say the name because of many reasons. Iran would put a wrath on them, so probably for that reason. But so if we reverse back, the aircraft has been damaged, means that was hit. If it was hit, that means it was locked. If it was locked, that means it was seen. So the whole stealth has gone south, literally. It has gone down. That means that this penetration Iranian guards did to one of the most sophisticated $100 million aircraft. Now, that's a surprise, which no one expected. Let's talk about, I'm not going to talk about how this happened. I will talk about the probable causes at the end of the video. But let's see what an F-35 is equipped with, why it cannot be seen. Well, the RCS of this aircraft is less than the size of a golf ball. So if some radars, they get their sensitivity really high, then they would also see the crows in the area flying around. So it won't be easy for this aircraft to be detected. That means Iran has some more sophisticated radar systems that has seen this aircraft in first place, because it has been seen for sure. And as I've already mentioned in my videos, and that probably is the YLC-8B radars from China, which they acquired just this year. So if it were seen, the Chinese, they claim that F-35s and F-22s, they cannot detect if they were seen by this radar. So right now we have to put this, their word as authentic, because definitely the aircraft had no clue it was seen or not. So if we're seen, it can't be locked. Why can't it be locked? Well, because of the coating on top of F-35. It's because it skips all the radar rays, you could call them. So that's one of the main thing that can keep it stealthy when it has been seen. For example, by using infrared cameras or normal cameras, you can see an aircraft. And we have the example of that one, F-35 shooting flares on top of Iranian soil. So it can be seen by simple cameras, but can it be locked? No, it can't be. The systems inside the aircraft also prevent that, especially the radar-seeking missiles. There's an RWR warning, or the missile approach warning system, we call MAWS, and there are many other things. So it can't be locked. But in this case, we know that it had been locked. So how did they lock it? We'll talk about that later. Now, even if it is seen and it is locked, can it be hit? The answer is straight away No. Because automatically, even if the IRST, which is the infrared search and track system, if that has detected this aircraft has warning systems installed, and they would shout out right away, the infrared Sikh missile is coming over, do something, boy. But in this case, we could clearly see that it was hit, so that means that that system was failed. This aircraft is capable of jamming the incoming missiles, no matter what they're radar-seeking missiles or they are the infrared-seeking missiles, the heat signature followers, seekers, whatever they are. But in this case, we saw that they were totally failed. On top of that, it deploys the decoys, just like we saw Rafales have the decoys, 15 decoys, and this one has more than 15 decoys at the same time. That would give the same radar signal or the heat signature as of a real aircraft, and the missile would follow them. But this aircraft didn't even have a chance to do that. So all these systems, they tell us it can't be seen. Even if it's seen, it can't be locked. Even if it can be locked, it can't be hit. But here, Iran has surpassed all three barriers. It saw, it locked, and it hit. That's why there's a damage to this aircraft, and it landed in one of the Gulf states. In this part of the video, I would give a little bit of doubt to keep the pride up of the Americans here, that this aircraft probably is not the American F-35 Lightning II. It probably is the F-35I Adir from Israel. And if you're seeing the first part, once I will explain my assumption, then probably you would agree with me. Americans F-35s, they are in America. None of the bases in Gulf countries have F-35s. Only the ones they sold to the Gulf state countries. And they won't use them because they have the flag and stuff like that. So they won't use them to do the bombing. So Israel is the one who has F-35I Adir, the special version for them. And that would have been conducting these attacks in Iran, because this was under a combat mission as sent by CENTCOM. Now, if it were American aircrafts, then possibility of being them seen is very little. Why? Because they would have flown from, let's say, UAE, from Kuwait, from Iraq, from Saudi Arabia, from Bahrain, you name it, and they won't need extra fuel tanks. And they won't need any, air refueling. So they would be in clean state. All the weapons and ammunition would be inside the bay. So nothing on the hard points outside under the wings, because they don't need it. But, and once you don't have this too much of radar signals coming out of your aircraft, which can be detected by the radars, then it's not easy for them to detect you. But if you're an Israeli F-35I Adir, you have to fly from Israel. You probably have to carry extra fuel tanks because of the distance. And once you're carrying the fuel tanks, right, you get 40% of extra fuel, but it's still not enough to reach to Tehran and go back. So you would need the air-to-air refueling, because you're an Israeli and you cannot land. You can, I mean, there's no problem. You're a U.S. ally, so Gulf states would give you that leverage to, benefit to land in one of your bases. But that's most unlikely to happen because of the condition, because of the sentiment in the area. Israel is still considered as an enemy, no matter what you say. They have accepted them, but yet, so that's the reason they're not welcomed. So they would not use any of the Gulf state bases for not to give them hard time against Iran and the other Muslim world, who is asking questions that Iran is bombing the Gulf states only because they're helping the Americans and the Israelis. So Israel would not do that. So Israeli aircrafts would have come with the fuel tanks, and they would have dropped their fuel tanks before commencing the mission, doing their targets, and then would have left. And because they're using, recently, they've done serious carpet bombing in the civilian areas as well. And they're using these bunker busters as well. And bunker busters have to be carried on the outer, under the hard points of the wings outside. So these two aircraft, are one confirmed, was not the USAF aircraft. It was the Israeli aircrafts. And because of their extra fuel tank, because the Chinese YLC-8B can detect 700 kilometers away. It can see F-35 700 kilometers away. But again, seeing and then locking that one, that could be done. But hitting that far away is not possible because Iran surface-to-air missiles, they have limitation. They have S-300s and the Bavar 383. So these two systems they have, and their range is 300 kilometers. So even an F-35 coming in for bombing would not drop the payload from 300 kilometers away. Even the JDAMs, the standoff weapons are not this. So they have to be over the surface of Iran. And they would not jettison their fuel tanks until they come up into the area. And once they're clear for the mission, they would jettison the fuel tanks and then become totally stealth and then commence their mission and go back. But they were detected far before that. And because they were detected, they were locked far before they were going to enter into Iranian soil. And once they were detected and locked, third thing was when to hit them. So once the signature, the IR, the infrared signature is locked onto a radar or any ground-to-air, the SAM, surface-to-air missiles, then you are a sitting duck. But again, F-35 should have shot a few flares or chaffs or, done the evasive maneuvers, but it seems by the video sent by the Iranians that did not happen. So in my opinion, this was not the American F-35, it was the Israeli F-35. And America takes this blame. They have to take it on their chin to save their allies, because that would be a huge thing in all over the Muslim world. That what you are giving bases and you're even giving shelter to Israelis, so America would take that blame. But for the other people who are the rivals with Americans, for them it doesn't matter. It's an Israeli jet or it's a USAF jet. For them, it's a F-35, and that has been shot down by Iran, which has been under sanctions for such a long time. And yet they managed to hit, damage an F-35 or two. We'll see the reports later. So for them, that matters. But blaming it to the Israeli also has consequences, pros and cons, and taking the blame on the American themselves, that also has pros and cons. So they have to choose what kind of opinion they're going to give out in the public. So it's not my job. That was my opinion about what it could be. Now, in the final section, I will just talk about what probably could have happened. Given the first instance, there were reports that a few of the F-15s were flying really low on Tehran, and they were doing some crazy maneuvers. Now, I don't know if they were F-15s or not. They could be MiG-29 because they look the same. So from far away, you don't know. But as they totally believe that they have dismantled the air defense system of Iran, so, from the movie Top Gun, a lot of Top Guns are produced at Top Gun school. So they would try to show off the place they bombed. I'm taking pictures from Top Gun. I'm telling you, this is a pilot's trophy. When he hits something, that's his trophy. Although it's recorded, but that's digitally recorded. That's a different scenario. You see the blips and, and digitally erased an aircraft. There are many maniacs who kill people and then take pictures with them. So we have seen those cases too. So it's the same thing. I'm not saying that fighter pilots are maniacs. No, there's no comparison. One is on duty for the nation, no matter what country, even if it's India. I would say the same thing. They are on their duty and protecting their nation and working for the benefits of their nation. That's what they are trained for. Not a killer is a killer. He's a psychopath maniac. So probably one or two of the F-35s, they became overconfident and they flew really low. Once they flew really low, they were seen, they were locked, they were detected. And if they were flying really low, then you don't need to lock them. Even a MANPAD or can do the things very easily because everything is visual to you. Pakistan has shot down the MiG-29s, I think, if not MiG-29, then MiG-24s, and then one Su-29 back in 1999, the Kargil War against India. The ground operators used simple machine guns, the anti-aircraft guns, and shot down two of the aircrafts on the same day because they were in the visual range. So they didn't need to, track them and lock them. They could see it with their eyes and they just shot them down. So my most probable guess is they were flying really low. I don't know why, for what reason. Was it the mission, the intensity of this mission, or the requirements of this mission let them fly low? But that's the only explainable thing that can justify an F-35, $100 million, $1 trillion research and development project has been shot down by an Air Force that's practically it does not exist. So, or the other reason could be this one. See you next time. Allah Hafiz.